So my dad died when I was 12 years old, right? And when I was 17, my best friend was murdered. Let's backtrack a little bit. My dad passed away. I saw a very, very strong man go from, very strong, almost like, when you look at your dad and you're like, he's indestructible. He can take on the world. And then I saw him from being the strongest individual to being vulnerable for the first time in my life. So he gets cancer. I saw him go from, walking, being able bodied, to just losing all mobility, to little by little just losing every sense of who he really was or who he was in the past. Slowly, slowly, slowly starts deteriorating pretty much. And first, his eye goes bad. His eye goes bad and he loses eyesight in one eye. And then they diagnose him with cancer. And then he slowly, slowly, slowly just 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 starts, the cancer does what it does best. It starts taking you just little by little. Eventually he started limping. One of his legs was starting to give out. And then one day he comes to me and he's like, hey, we had like I think it was a Grand Marquis or something. He's like, I get in the back seat. He's in the driver's side, and he's like, hey, so do you want me to, pass away, or do you want them to chop off my leg? And honestly, I think that was the day that I went numb. Because I remember I used to be happy, play with friends, go outside, play soccer every day, play with Yu-Gi-Oh cards that he would always give me. And that day I just I think I got so confused because I didn't know how to process that, that question. So I just stayed quiet for the majority of the time, and he kept asking me. And I think he understood that I didn't really understand what he was talking about. I don't know if it felt like forever that we sat there. It was probably 5 minutes. Eventually I say, like kind of like in a low, defeated voice, well, of course, let them take your leg. I mean, what else would a rational person say? But I think since this man was so powerful, so strong, and never took anything from anyone, it made him feel weak, vulnerable, like maybe less of a man. I don't know. He decides to just get regular treatment. He keeps his leg. I don't know why. I don't know if the cancer was too far gone and he was terminal. Again, another thing that really messes with my head that my mom never spoke about. Never. I had to find like the death certificates of what happened to him as to the reason why he really passed away later down the road when I was an adult. That's how, like, some people can just move on and forget that things like this happen, and I think that's something all kids need. So if you're an adult watching this and your kids are going through something, sometimes they just need you to sit there with them and say, I understand, and maybe give them a little push. And if they want to be sad or depressed for a bit, let them. One day, I kind of don't even want to say this, and I might cut it out because, I don't know, my mom and him were arguing about something most likely petty, something my little sister had done. I don't know what it was. We had kind of like a door, and we had transitioned the garage into a room. So we had a door there, and it was open, and I just remember my dad standing there because they were old school, man. They would hit you with a sandal, with anything they could get, with the belt, whatever it was. That's the only way they knew how to educate. I keep the Call of Duty in the background because that was my escape from all like the trauma that happened right after he passed. And that's why I think some of us cope with video games. But moving on, So I see my dad standing on that doorway, like towards the garage. It was like the kitchen led to the garage, and the door was like they made a big old hole and added a door. Uh, Creativity. So he's standing there with the bell on the door, and I could picture it. If I close my eyes, I could picture it like it was yesterday, man. And my sister is like, I don't know if she was walking, but all I see is, bam, you know, he gets her with the belt, right? By the way, I will never hit my child. I will never, ever, ever. I will try my best never to hit anyone because violence is never the answer. So, bam, you know, and then he hits her, and then my mom comes. I don't know if she was in the garage laying down or standing there too. He comes, and he was already pretty vulnerable, but he was still trying to be a man, I guess. He couldn't even walk anymore. He started using a cane. I'm pretty sure he started using that I'm pretty sure he was using a cane at that point, and she my mom shoves him, right, and and this is the first time I felt like anguish, I guess. I don't know, like defeat. Like I don't even know how to describe what I felt till this day. And he didn't fall over, but he stumbled. I know that for sure, and I know he struggled to like get his momentum back, and eventually he just walks over to the couch and sits down. He would sit like there was a couch like towards the window, and and he would sit like towards the end of it, because in the corner eventually they had to put like one of those hospital beds, you know, that they, I don't know if they gave it to him. So he goes to the corner and sits down. It was like a three-seater couch. You remember those flowery ones that used to be like the aesthetics of them, like the mid 2000s almost. So he sits down, and he just starts bawling. And I remember now that we were actually going to school. So maybe there was some dilemma that my sister didn't want to go to school or something. Because now I remember that we left right after that. And he starts bawling and crying. And for the first time, I saw him like really, really like defeated, like without hope pretty much. Because his friend had passed away like I don't know if it was like a year prior. Like one of his best friends had passed away, and still I never seen him drop a tear. You could tell he was disappointed and sad, but he never cried, and that was the first time. I was like, damn. Men do cry, and men just are trying to keep it together for the family for whatever reasons to seem strong, when in reality we're vulnerable just like women. But that happens, and then my brother comes out of nowhere. I can't even tell you where he was, because I just remember, like, cause I remember the first time when I was just watching him cry and cry and cry, like just like put his head down, like crying, like sobbing, man, like a kid, like a kid crying over ice cream, bro. Yeah. And then my brother just, in my head, he just appeared next to me. I don't know if it was to my left or my right. And he's like, Dad, stop crying, stop crying. Um, Stop crying. Like, men don't cry, or something along those lines. But I know for sure he was saying, don't cry, don't cry. And eventually my dad just responded like how can I not cry? I'm in such pain. My body just hurts. I can't keep going. And I don't remember much after that. I think we just went to school. One day I'm walking out of class, right? I'm walking home. We used to walk home. Sometimes my mom would pick us up, or sometimes I would walk with friends. I don't know, growing up in like the mid 2000s, we were pretty much allowed to do whatever, man. Walk home from school young, I'm walking out, trying to get to the gate, right? And I don't know how, but one of the, I don't know if she was a staff, I don't know if it was a teacher, I don't remember that part. But she's like, hey, come here, someone wants to talk to you. And eventually we get to like a little office, I can still picture it. It was one door, and then you walked in, and it was like the secretary of the school, and then to the left was the nurse's office, because I tried to go home a few times, you know, so I would be there a lot. And then to the right there was like little mini offices. So she takes us, oh, she takes me into one, and my sister's already sitting there, and one of my aunts that was actually our neighbor was there. So they sit us down, I sit down, and blah blah blah. And eventually they just, oh, your dad just passed away, and we both start crying. You know, I don't. Till this day, I would love to ask my mom why she couldn't just tell us herself, and you know, like, now I think about it, it's like I would never ever want my kids to experience it that way. Um, so my aunt's sitting there, my sister's sitting, they tell us what happened, and then we start bawling. We start bawling, and eventually, I think our mom was already waiting for us in the front, and this was probably and we had like a little van, the old school van. We would all just get in, and we walk out the main door to the office, and we just get in, and it was so awkward because no one said anything. No one said anything. Like, we literally drove like not even a mile. I would say like almost a mile. Let's just call it a mile. Uh, to to the high school where my brother was going to, and we just watched a soccer game. We just watched him play soccer, uh, and I thought it was weird because no one said anything. No one said like, oh, you know, it's gonna be cool, because all my siblings were pretty much older except for the younger one. But I was hoping someone said something, you know. But because in my head I was like, "Well," like I couldn't. I don't think I really understood the concept of death, you know. Um, and we drove to his soccer game, and we just sat there and watched it. And all I wanted to do was just like isolate myself from them, because I felt like I didn't belong. I think that's the first time I realized that, you know, family, just because they're family doesn't mean they're gonna be there. So I felt like this very strange, you know, ominous, I don't even know if that's a word, feeling. Um, and I was like, how come my mom doesn't say anything, you know, like, and as a kid, if you grew up like if you grew up around that era, older, younger, anywhere in between, you were taught to respect your elders, and like asking questions was almost like questioning them, so you didn't even do that. And I always had very good questions, you know, like not even bad ones. Like, most of them stem from like curiosity, that I just wanted to know things, but you were always shut down. Like, hey, you're younger, you know, be quiet. So ever since then, I never kind of respected anyone. You know, I always did what I wanted to do, and I kind of became numb. And what the moral of the story is, that it took me so long to get here, is that I don't know how to make friends. Like, it's easy for me to talk to people. It's easy for me to give you a compliment, like, hey, cool shirt. You know, how are you? I could listen to you talk about your job and be like, cool, you know, that's dope, keep going. I could pretty much hold a conversation about anything, but in deep down inside, I only let it get that far. Like, I'm not gonna call you. I'm not gonna, you know, call you and be like, hey, bro, let's hang out. Because deep down inside, I kind of got like a stigma. like a stigma of you know, this person won't even be here one day, so what's the point of investing any time? Or this person one day could just wake up and be gone, and then I'm over here all alone again. I guess I developed abandonment issues in a sense. So when I get like close to people, I'm like all in. There is no in between. There is no 50. There's no 20. There's no 90. It's all in. So that happened, and then I guess I also developed trust issues. Like, oh yeah, so that's what I became. I became either all in or stay over there. I never want you. I never want to feel betrayed by you. I never because I know deep down inside I have like resentment. I have anger issues. So I would never want to expose anyone to those feelings or that kind of treatment when you could have just, hey, stay over there, bro. It's cool. I'm chilling. I could play video games all day, all night. I could be in my head making up scenarios, trying to come up with solutions for something. Like I really became not necessarily independent, but I love the idea of being alone, um, and creating my own peace, because I was the only one who could give me that, and I realized that day that even my mom couldn't even console us, and my mom was never a hugger, so she didn't hug us once. Like, hey, it's okay, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna get we're gonna light candles and talk about him and grieve properly. We never got that. Like I think when we were at the funeral, because um, at the funeral, I remember just looking down at him, and I didn't know what was going on. Honestly, I think that's what it was. That's what it was. I literally threw on a red shirt, and no one told me anything until I was there. That like, hey, maybe you shouldn't wear that color. Go put on. And to me, I was like, well, it's just a shirt. Like no one taught me that etiquette, so I went and changed it. But they didn't. Even then, they still didn't tell me why. You know. And again, being, respect your elders. I didn't ask. I didn't ask. So I remember just looking down at his body, and then I think I just zoned out. I didn't drop a tear. I remember my brother went to like the back and started crying, and got like sat down and kind of got into the fetus position, started bawling, and then I was just like looking at him, almost like in a like, wait, really? You're gonna cry when you were telling my dad not to cry? And I'm like, and that's why I hate hypocrites. I hate people that say one thing and do another. I just hate it. Like that to me. If I see it once, like I want nothing to do with you. If you say you're kind and you're posting all this kindness stuff, and you go and you're rude to the waiter because for over a simple mistake that can be fixed, or whatever, or you're mean to someone for no reason, like obviously you can be upset, right? But like if you're just mad at the world, it's just like how can people be so fake? Like to me, even with women, I could never be like, hey, you're beautiful, when in reality she was ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like I would just not say anything. I wouldn't say either or, but I would not lie, because to me, I always thought it was like a manipulation thing, like trying to get something from them. But maybe now it's like I can understand, like maybe white lies are good to make people feel good. Maybe a confidence boost or something along those lines. But again, it was one of those things that I kind of grew a hatred towards hypocrites, to people that like said, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Uh, if you ever need anything, call me, which is all like just cliche. It's just the same people say because, and I get it. We were not taught how to deal with death. We weren't. We just all coasting, and I understand, and I don't. I never felt entitled to anything of the sort. Uh, but from my own family, maybe a little bit, and then fast forward. So that's what happened, and I think that's what what really what's really bad about me, that I never could get close to people because of those reasons. Like I had friends, for sure, I had friends, but I always had that in the back of my head. Like one day they'll leave, and that's okay. That now it's like that's okay. People leave, and as long as you enjoy that little time with them, that's all that matters. Enjoy that Yu-Gi-Oh, that Yu-Gi-Oh match, that soccer match, that ham no uh tetherball. Remember people used to play that tetherball? Is that's what it's called? Um, or we used to play like this thing with the kickball, like against the wall, and it would bounce back, and boom, we would do it again, whatever that was called. Uh, like I could make friends in that sense where it's like, oh, we're cool, we're in the same class, let's chill, let's go to your house and play video games, come to my house and play video. Like I think those were one of the best friendships to me. But I always had it in my mind, like, these people could just leave any moment, and a lot of times it happened, and that's why I've never kind of like felt sad like about that stuff. Like, oh, I knew it would have happened. And fast forward, and I think that's more of the story. I think like that's why I'm kind of like wired, not different, just to me it's like I'm handicapped, man, because it's okay for me to ask for favors, right? But I always felt like it was like, oh, you're just taking advantage of people. You're just taking advantage of people if you ask for favors, and I'll just do everything alone. And that's how I always been.